Okay, hello everyone. A lot of the info for the May update 2022 for the Chinese server has dropped. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys about some of it. I'm not going to talk too much about Julian and Wandering Duelist since I kind of already made two videos on them. But I will go over a little bit of what else I have learned about them. And these will all be on the site, probably in a few hours, if that. If you want to take a look yourself, you can just wait until then. So there's going to be a lot of these 404 images. I can't do anything about that. I need to wait until I can get the images. The talent, nothing has changed as far as I know. So his soldier bonuses, he has a offensive spread, 40% attack. So that's 30% HP. So he's not weighted into one type of defense as far as that goes. And he actually got, as far as I can tell, a unique archer class, but it doesn't seem to matter because it just seems kind of bad. I think it had better heart bonds. I need to go back and check again. But otherwise, you can see here that you would probably still go with High Master just because of the higher crit rate and the higher HP, really. But like I said, I need to go back and double check the heart bonds again. Let's see here. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about is this move again skill that he had that I talked about, similar to Roundabout. So I went back and checked the wording on the skill again, and one thing I noticed, and I don't think maybe it's just me thinking too much about it, but the way it's worded, it didn't specify that Julian has to be the one initiating in this first part of the description. It just says when you enter battle, if the enemy has less than 100% HP, damage taken minus 50%, may move 3 blocks after battle. So that means that, first of all, that probably means that damage taken minus 50% is active even when you are attacked by an enemy with less than 100% HP. So that helps with his tankiness a little bit. If you do what you're supposed to do with him, which is engage, have him be a late game cleaner or whatever, or have him be kind of a finisher unit. What I am wondering about is this move 3 blocks after battle thing. I don't believe it actually specified for that either, that you need to be attacking. Now, I somehow doubt that they're going to let you be able to move the unit on enemy phase. But at the same time, we have had effects that are kind of similar, like Himiko's teleport. Still, it does seem a bit odd because, especially when I think about like the PvP timer, is it gonna switch over to? Is it gonna switch over to the player that's controlling Julian and start counting down for them? So I don't think. I'm gonna assume that the 3 blocks after battle movement is only for player phase, but it would be really interesting if this also took place during enemy phase. We'll see soon enough, I guess. And some of you are still wondering about the death from above AoE. I double checked the description again. It still is written in a very, very unclear way. So I'm going to have to wait until Julian is actually out before I can figure out what death from above actually does. So let me see here. So yeah, that's about all I have to say about Julian. So next is Wandering Duelist. Let's see here. Okay, so her stats were probably something a lot of people were wondering about. So as expected, the Lancer class has notably less attack than the Dragon Master class, but a lot more HP, a fair amount more defense, and way less magic defense. Some people think that her 587 attack, even on Dragon Master, is kind of bad, but I think it's fine. One thing you got to remember about the fact that her fixed damage is based off the damage she does in battle. That makes it unique compared to other fixed damage in that you can affect it with like single target buffs, right? You got like attack blessing Wandering Duelist, and that extra damage is going to be converted into more fixed damage from this part of the talent. And normally you wouldn't be able to buff fixed damage at all. Well, not directly. You can, usually you can like increase the attack strength of someone like Betty, for example, and that will do more fixed damage. And obviously she has her helm that does more fixed damage, but there's very few things in this game that directly affect fixed damage. And it's kind of interesting to be able to use single target buffs like attack blessing to increase fixed damage in this way. Soldier boost, 20% HP, 35% attack, 30% defense. So nothing too surprising, I think. Let me see if there was anything else here. Okay, so this her Cold Blood style skill, as expected, it is a 1-cost skill. It has a 4-turn cooldown, so it's pretty long cooldown here. Now, interesting thing here, it has range all in the description. So I'm gonna have to wait until Wandering Duelist is out before I can be 100% sure how it works, because it says inflict 2 enemies. So I don't know how that's going to work. Are you going to be able to target both of them? But this is nice in the sense that you can use it anywhere on the map. You don't have to. It's not like some of the enemy. Some of the Cold Blood style skills that target enemies, you need to be within a certain range. Like, for example, Wataru, he needs to, if he wants to pull himself to an enemy, he needs to be within 4 blocks. If he wants to do his that footlock skill, he needs to be within 3 blocks. This has an all range, so you don't need to be standing next to someone to use it. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, I think that's about it in terms of interesting new information for Wandering Duelists. And of course, but many of you have probably already heard, this is the big news, SP Ledin has arrived. And I mean, the TLDR is that it's basically a straight upgrade to Ledin. It's pretty funny because I was thinking about doing like more tier list videos, because I know people like the last tier list video. I just didn't really have time to do another one. I was thinking about ranking the SSRs and separating them by faction, so I wouldn't have to rank like over 100 characters all in the same tier list. And I was going to say that Ledin has really fallen out of his position since the beginning of the game, because he was the best tank during the launch of the game. And he's just fallen behind more and more. And he's had a niche every now and then, but he's just had a hard time keeping up. Well, the SP class fixes pretty much almost all the gripes that people have with him. So first we look at the talent. So basically, well, first of all, he has 25% damage taken minus. So, okay, so now he's as tanky as Christian and Hilda on a basic level. I mean, sometimes there's some math shenanigans involved too, because sometimes the damage taken talent is multiplicative. I can't talk properly. You know what I mean. Sometimes it multiplies, and sometimes it just adds to damage calculations. It's kind of weird like that. So I don't know which one this one's gonna be, but the point is that it's 25%. He gets a talent guard. He has the Albedo talent guard. So RIP in peace, Albedo. You have one of your biggest appeals has been taken by Ledin here. Ledin getting his revenge on Albedo. Because when Albedo first came out, it just feels like she was a better Ledin in many ways. This is so strong because a talent guard, it's just so good, right? Because it can't be dispelled. It can't you can't like passive disable it. Like there's a lot of tanks where you can try to passive disable them and then kill a unit next to them if you dispel their guard plus passive disable them. You can't do that to Ledin anymore because he has a talent guard within one ring. So yeah, that's really, really nice. His double counter no longer has an HP threshold, so it's just like he just always counters twice. Instead, he is given a 30 to 70% chance to attack first. Now, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, it's not 100%, but having a 70% chance to get a double attack to the face before you even hit Ledin is just what? And of course, against units like Elwyn, you have a 70% chance of, I guess, losing a lot of your troops while attacking, because of course Elwyn also has first strike. But yeah, this is pretty much what people wanted on a Ledin talent improvements. They decided not to go for anything crazy or new. They decided to just like straight upgrade the guy. Same thing with the stats here. You can see that the HP is like 20 points higher than Templar class. It's like, okay, whatever. Same with the defense and magic defense. Like it's like 15 points higher on each one. So his defense and HP is still lower than his king class, but his magic defense is the highest it's ever been. They changed his soldier stats slightly. They took 5% out of magic defense and funneled it into HP. I mean, I don't mind that. It's just kind of weird. I think this is mostly a good change, just because so many of the troops have less magic defense than defense or HP. Like Phalanx is obviously more physical heavy. Well, pretty much all the Lancers are more physical heavy. Even Crystal Molders like rely on their HP quite a bit. So, I mean, the only tanking troop that Ledin uses that has balanced stats is Redeemer. So, this is at worst, I think it's a wash, and at best, it's actually a slight improvement. So, yeah, so they just like overall just improve them all around. Now let's take a look at his two new skills here. So first he has a 1C called God's Blessing. First, it makes him immune to heal block. This alone is already really nice, because it was really annoying to have to equip Blood Pact on so many of your tanks just because you have to deal with all the heal blocks flying around, and sometimes it was just annoying to deal with heal block from random debuff characters. So now instead you can stick to Racer, which obviously is the most synergistic with Ledin's playstyle. You can use Overlord Badge, which stops you from getting your feet pinned down, and you can wear boots on Ledin, because Divine Boots or something, or even Spirit Boots, which you'll see will have a little bit of use. And the last one is, I think that's mostly it. Okay. So after taking action, if this unit does not have Almighty Guard, which is the guard from his 3C, then he will gain Divine Guard. So he just puts up. So remember that he already has a guard from his talent, so he doesn't need this passive to just give him guard range, right? So instead it gives him the conversion. It lasts 2 turns and cannot be dispelled. This is pretty huge. So no matter what, he will almost always have his conversion up. This has a 2-turn cooldown, so he'll still have the dead turn sometimes. I don't know. The one thing I am wondering is that does this activate when his 3C ends? Like when Almighty Guard goes down, does this immediately activate, or does he have a dead turn and then gets the Divine Guard from this passive? But otherwise, like this just mostly helps him out a lot with the early game when you're trying to approach your opponent and Ledin could never put his guard up. So now you don't have to bring Divine Guard anymore. You can bring this 1C. He'll have his conversion, and you'll have a rain guard from his talent. And yeah, that's all there is to say about that. So finally, you have an attack skill here. 1.4 times damage. If the enemy is a demon, inflict damage taken plus 20%. And then heals 30% damage dealt as HP after battle. And the most notable thing about this, it is actually a 2-range attack. So melee soldiers attack not affected by melee range penalties. So this is a 2-range attack. It is basically an air slash. So which is why I mentioned earlier that having having divine boots can be very useful, because it would allow you to move Ledin out of his tanking position and attack someone and then run back. The other thing that worth noting about this is another advantage to divine boots here is that if you consider him combining this with his 3C, and the fact that his 3C has the Moby Down that lasts 2 turns instead of 1, that means you can use the 3C to pull someone in, and then Ledin can actually be one of the units that's threatening your opponent. It used to be that some people used his 3C to like try to assassinate opponents, and it worked sometimes, but now what you have is Ledin can actually be the DPS that kills through guard while he's locking down the tank himself, rather than having to rely on all his team members to do that. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal, and especially with his new troop here, which is State Guard. So he didn't really have great offensive troops, right? He had Zealots, and I mean, Zealots and Mass Maids are pretty good, I guess. But State Guards are just a nice all-around option, because not only do they have good offenses, but they actually increase counter damage too. They have good counter damage, which synergizes well with Ledin's style. So even though it might seem kind of weird, and these are actually a really good troop for him to have. So really interesting. Overall, like this is like a straight upgrade. There's almost no reason not to get this upgrade if you already have Ledin built and at 6 stars. And this air slash skill, I think, might change the way he plays quite a bit. But it really depends, because there's still a lot of dispels running around, and sometimes even boss steals, and sometimes they could just take away his 3C lockdown effect. But yeah, it's just nothing else to say. Ledin is just... I'm kind of surprised that they gave us an SP Ledin, because I kind of figured they would allow Grenier to have his little niche still for a while, instead of releasing another glory buffer tank upgrade so soon. But I guess the loan just doesn't care about Grenier that much. So there's that. So the 2 exclusives they added were Lisa and Michelle. Okay, I didn't manage to get it to show up here. So okay, yeah, I need to fix it up a bit, but I'll just like write it up on screen. But basically, Lisa's exclusive is a helm, and what it does is that it gives her, every time she transforms, she will remove 1 debuff from herself and then give herself 1 buff. This exclusive sucks. Like, I mean, it's random buffs are nice, and removing debuffs, sure, but it's like there were so many unique things in Lisa's kit that it's just feels like a huge disappointment that it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just like cut this out and put it on screen. Not much to say about Lisa's exclusive, other than I think it's a disappointment. Maybe I'll see. Okay, same thing with Michelle. Her exclusive is not showing up yet. So Michelle's exclusive is a weapon. What is it? Okay, it is a. It looks like a lance. The sprite makes it look like a lance, but it actually has axe stats, which is nice because that means it has the extra attack strength that axes tend to have, which is what is it, 1 I forgot what it was, 118 or something. So what it does is that after she does damage to an enemy, she has a 50% chance to inflict 1 stack of her talent. So you'll stack faster, which is really nice. You'll get to the fixed damage portion of her talent much faster that way. And she also gains line skill range +1. Lasts 1 turn. Not much to say about that. It's just makes her line skills bigger. I don't see anything else to say other than that. It does kind of suck that you don't get it before. You have to hit something first. So it doesn't help with her engage range. It just makes it so that's easier for you once you get her going. But I think it's a pretty good exclusive regardless. Gonna have to see it in action though. Yeah. So aside from that, I'll also put this info on screen because I don't have a tab for it. But there's a new covenant being added, and it's Odin. And I don't know how true this is. Like, I don't know if this is like inaccurate, but from what I see so far, his stats are absolutely ridiculous, or the stats that he gives your units, because he gives 300 HP, 36 defense, 10 magic defense, 12 intelligence, 15 skill, and 93 attack. Now, I don't know if this is a mistake, like somebody releasing the info, like put a typo somewhere, because this seems absolutely nuts. Like 93 attack from this is just what? I mean, the other covenant that's comparable is what is it? Freya or Frigg. Frigg only gave like 45 intelligence, and that's supposed to be the lopsided one. Instead, Thor apparently gives 93 attack. I don't know how. Like I said, I don't know how true this is yet, so we might have to wait a little bit to see if it's true. But that seems kind of nuts. Yeah. So that's all I got right now. I'm working on getting this stuff on the site. The pages I showed in this video are kind of like the dev page, so they're not on the actual pages yet. I'll try to get them up, sometime today, if I can. But until then, just a quick video to tell you guys about them. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.